Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Violet Sky. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this Post-Apocaweird tabletop RPG, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about defense, resting, stress, and many other things. When it comes to defense, armor and some very specific items or weapons grant defense points. Usually a character can only have defense points by equipping armor. However, there exist some tricks that grant defense points even when the character is unarmed. Some spells may also grant magical defense. Defense works similar to stamina. It is reduced due to damage. However, whenever a character would suffer damage, defense is reduced before stamina. Similarly, defense cannot fall below 0. All excess damage is allocated to the stamina points. Defense points simply protect your more precious stamina points. Defense points are much easier to restore, and some tricks allow the characters to regain defense even during hectic combat. Let's talk about temporary defense and stamina. Some actions in combat, tricks or spells may grant temporary defense or stamina to a character. These are points that are added on top of the standard defense and stamina points. Characters cannot restore temporary points in any way. For example, you cannot heal lost temporary stamina with ointments or other medicine. If a character with these temporary points would receive damage, the damage is first allocated to these points, because they are temporary, before it reaches defense and then stamina. If the character has both temporary defense and stamina available, they may decide how to allocate the damage. Temporary points are lost when the effect that granted them ends, or when the character rests. Let's talk about resting. Characters may rest in two ways in Violet Sky. A character who more or less sleeps for 8 hours in a safe place is performing a full rest. After a full rest, the character repairs all damage done to their armor, all defense points are restored, and regains 1d6 stamina. Characters also lose all tokens and get 2 invention tokens back. Then we have quick rest. Once between full rests, a character may rest for about 10 minutes to quickly patch up their armor and take a few deep breaths. A quick rest restores 1d4 defense and stamina, rolled separately. When it comes to stress, it determines how well the character is doing in mental state. Stress can have a level from 0 to 20, and the higher the stress, the worse it gets. New autonomous start with a stress score of 5, that is your character, which can be of course reduced later in the game. Whenever a character sees something scary, disturbing or gruesome, a check is necessary. The character can choose to either defend themselves against stress with might, or logic. Before the check is performed, the game master must describe if the scene the character sees is scary or terrifying. If the check was unsuccessful, the character gains 1 stress if they saw something scary, or 2 stress if it was terrifying. If the check was successful, the character gains no stress, or just 1 point of it if it was something truly terrifying. Whenever the stress level is raised, the character must also make a panic roll. The character must roll a d20 on a table. You obtain results such as: the character starts to throw up loudly and gets 1 additional stress level, or the character lets out a shout, loses balance and falls to the ground. You also have a brain damage table and information. What happens when you go nuts? The highest result on the panic table will result in the character getting brain damage. This simply means that they, from now on, will have a phobia, mental health problems, or will behave strangely. The character must roll on a table to determine exactly what happens. Maybe the character develops alcoholism, perhaps a sort of phobia, maybe masochism, or maybe he or she becomes a megalomaniac. You also have information on how to reduce stress. By doing various tasks such as resting, obtaining some sort of good entertainment, good food and drinks, this can help. In the post-apocalyptic future, this is somewhat of a luxury. So you need to keep in mind that when you find food, any sort of comforts, entertainment, you must secure them. Otherwise, you won't be able to recover your stress. And if you don't eat and drink and sleep properly, you will start to lose stamina. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about the flow of play. What I like about these rules and the results is that you can apply them during your sessions without feeling as if your character is now impaired or hampered for the rest of the campaign. Maybe you develop some sort of mental problem, but that mental problem needs to be attended to for an hour, for 2, perhaps more, or by using some sort of resource. So for example, your character could become a shut-in, but that doesn't mean that you lose your character, that your character spends the rest of the campaign locked up in a hole or in a structure, in a bunker, etc. It just means that for a few hours you need to remain shut away or locked away from others. So it actually adds to the character development, and it makes the character a bit more realistic if you ask me. And of course it's also great if you manage to overcome those problems through roleplay within the fictional setting. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.